of next year, 2015, May 8th through August 3rd, 2016. We have lots of things scheduled. And one of the main is a musical dance drama on Gurudev. This initiative is taken up by the Chinmay Yuva Kendra, and the launch of it, the pilot version of it, would be launched in Dallas on the Thanksgiving Day this year. So there have been so the last 3 days. Today would be the fourth day. We have been practicing rigorously and recording rigorously. So practically, if I get a blanket, I can sleep right here. So 3 fruitful but sleepless nights. Still the practice is happening at my home. It's all recording devices all over the place and kids are going in and out. So the most beautiful part is all the lyrics, music composition, singing, script writing, and the drama and dance part of it is all choreographed, composed, and recorded, edited by the youth. And it's all shaping up pretty good. So the Saturday of the Thanksgiving is when we will have this. It's called the Gurudev musical, and it will be in Mangalam. So mark your calendars and schedule your time accordingly so that you can be a part of it. Coming back to the Bhagavad Gita. For those of you who have joined new, when you come to the session, does everybody have a smartphone? So you can go to the Chinmay's CMDFW website. On that website, you will find the resources and the download page of handbook. So you search for handbook 2014-2015, download it on that, so that when we are learning the Bhagavad Gita shlokas, you can also chant along with us. And I think last week I did explain to all those who have joined us new that 2 things I'm very particular about. One thing is your cell phone not ringing during the class hours. So please mute them. And the second thing is, when you come for this Bhagavad Gita classes, please come with your own copy of Bhagavad Gita. Did I inform last week? Okay, consider yourself being informed. So from next week, I would appreciate if you bring your own copy. I mean, if you want to bring a soft copy, it is fine. I also use a soft copy. But have a copy so that when we read and go through, you get familiarized with the shlokas and it becomes easy on further reading. Last week, I think I introduced the first chapter, right? And before I go into the first chapter, to all the parents who scramble in at the last moment into the hall, instead of walking in directly from this door, walk all the way from that side. There's a lot of space. It is good not to block the exit and entry for various fire code reasons. So if you can step out from there and walk inside right now. God forbid something happens, move forward. God forbid something happens in the stampede, you will be the first ones impacted. Though technically being at the closest one to the door, you can jump out. You may never know. So please avoid sitting on that stair. I know it is comfortable, Without chair, it gives you the comfort of a chair, but then, and the wall to lean on, but then it is not safe. Okay. Now, getting into the second chapter, or the further continuation of Bhagavad Gita. Now, as a bird's eye view of the entire Bhagavad Gita and its process of how it has been aligned, or how it has been given out. So, the first chapter is like a foundation wherein Arjuna gives out, or rants out his grief. At every intersection, we also go through the same thing in the same dramatic way. And more than what is happening, our imaginations play an amazing role. That we see something and imagine an, a huge amount of impact that could have happened, rather than being more realistic. See, when Arjuna goes through those, so Bhagavan Krishna, looking at Arjuna, he introduces the entire science of Sanatana Dharma in the second chapter. The crux of the entire Vedic scriptures and all the scriptures put together. That's why in the last part of Bhagavad Gita chapter, there is the Sankalpa Vakya, as it is called. It says, Om Tat Sat iti Bhagavad Gita su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishnarjuna Samvade, whatever chapter's name and whatever is the name of the number of the chapter. So what does it say there? Bhagavad Gita su, in the Bhagavad Gita, which is the crux of what? Upanishadsu, crux of the entire Upanishadic wisdom. Brahma Vidyayam, and what does it talk about? It talks about Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya, the knowledge of Supreme. Yoga Shastra. There are various Yoga Shastra. Primarily, there are 5 different yogas. Sometimes I play, not sometimes, most of the times when I'm not sitting in front of the mic, I play a lot of practical pranks. So there was this person, he kept calling in and saying, do you teach yoga in your Chinmay mission? And that day my mood was different. So I said, yes. I think it was in the second session only. He came in track suits and he came in. So he had a lot of patience. So he sat through the prayer session. You could see that confused look on his face. That how is it that these many people are going to do yoga? So then the kids left. There was such space created. I said, oh, okay, maybe now, the yoga sessions will start. And then, as usual, my Bhagavad Gita lecture started. I said, okay, this is, a combo. You have prayers and then you have a little philosophy. Now yoga. And then I concluded my talk and kept going out. So he was like totally flabbergasted. I said, where is yoga? So he ran behind me and says, so the yoga classes are happening down? I said, no, I finished the yoga class. He was like, what kind of yoga is it? I'm very confused. I said, that you are. The confusion is there because the word yoga, at least as Indians, as Hindu, we should at least have the clarity. Americans love to call and shorten everything to their convenience. So if it is your name is Krishna, it becomes Chris. recently, I overheard, this was in Chitrakoot, I overheard this person introduce, I am Mark. I looked at it and I said, sometimes it happens that the wife is Hindu, the husband is Christian, uh, progressive kind who doesn't mind coming to such lectures. Chup baitha. I mean, why to dig into such things? I kept quiet. And then they signed up for being a Yajaman on puja, and he was doing everything like a Hindu would do. I was confused. So I finally asked him, "What is your, name?" So he saw that confused look on me. I said, "Oh, I introduced myself as Mark, but my full name is Markandeyulu." People shorten, and they want to apply it sometimes on me to say, "Swamiji, can we call you as Swami S?" I said, "No, don't shorten it." So the word yoga, as used in Sanskritam, means to unite. It is from the word yuja dhatu. Yuja, that which unites. And the plan that we create to reunite or to join, that is why the plan is also called yojana. And the purposefulness of the plan, therefore, is called prayojana. See, all from the same root word, yuja. Yuja, to unite. Therefore, if you want to understand any language born in India, you understand Sanskritam and understand the root words, it is easy to understand how etymologically these things have been derived. And to learn Sanskritam is very easy. What easy, Swami? Patience. The root words are very few. How many are the root words? If you can increase your vocabulary and learn 2200 root words. How many? 2200 words. If you look at even your English vocabulary, I'm sure you know more than 2000 words. Right? Over a period of time you have acquired. Similarly, when you pay attention to and learn the root words, there are different kinds of processes wherein the root word gets morphed and it gets used in different references. And that is why each word can have, like the word dharma, has about 14 different meanings. We use it very, do your dharma, or it is my dharma. But the word has 14 different shades of meanings. Another word that can be taken is Hari. One word, one meaning is somebody who snatches or removes or takes away. Other meanings of Hari is also a lion is also named as Hari. A monkey is also named as Hari. So there is that famous story of Narada enticed with this beautiful girl. It comes in Tulsi Ramayana, and he goes to Bhagwan and he says, "Oh Sri Hari, give me a face like yours." Oh. And he specifically asked for "Oh Sri Hari." So he says, "Tathastu." So he goes back thinking that he has an amazing face like Lord himself, and he goes in and everybody mocks at him. Everybody. Then after he comes out of that Swayamvar, he's sitting near the pool and he sees his own reflection in that pool. That is when he gets mad at Bhagwan. I asked for a beautiful face and he gave me a monkey's face. Because Hari also means a monkey. So each word has multiple meanings, and how it is used, the meaning changes. I know how you say interesting, even in English. That's why when people say interesting, I ask, good interesting? bad interesting, or indifferent interesting? Wow, interesting. How is it? Interesting. How you say it. Similarly, the other word is wow. That confused me for a longest period. When I came into this country, I met with a very good introduction into US. The very first time I came in 2002, the accident and the car flipped 4 times. Luckily, nothing happened to us inside. As I was explaining the first time this to someone here, and the expression was, wow. I felt a little let down. What kind of a sadistic culture is this? Because my true translation of it was, wow, is wow. It's only later that I understood is that wow is used for good wow, bad wow, and indifferent wow. And you're not interested in it. Wow. Wow. I said, oh, wow. There are different kinds of expression. But this is more in how you say it. But in Sanskritam, even the meaning changes. So the word yuja, when it develops into yoga, yoga means to unite. And there are 5 known paths of yoga. First one is karma yoga, bhakti yoga, jnana yoga, dhyana yoga, and ashtanga yoga. Patanjali's ashtanga yoga. And in this country, one of the steps of Patanjali's ashtanga yoga, ashta means 8, anga means limbs, 8 limbs or 8 steps of self evolution. And the third step is called asana. And the full name of it is yogasana. And that yogasana has been cut short. And it is now being used as yoga. Do you do yoga? Yes, I do yoga. I do karma yoga. I do bhakti yoga. I do jnana yoga. I do dhyana yoga. No, no, no. I mean the real yoga. What do you mean? This is unreal or what? Then what we have to learn in our vocabulary to change is that this, what exercises that we do, it is not yoga, it is asana. Asana that helps us unite. Getting the clarity? So there are 5. Yoga Shastra. Yoga Shastra, this is the Shastra. This is not a theory or something which is postulated, but this is Siddhanta, science. This is a science, Yoga Shastra. And there are 5 yogas. What are the 5 yogas that are discussed in Bhagavad Gita? Karma, Bhakti, Jnana, Dhyana, and Ashtanga Yoga. All 5 are very well introduced in here. Yoga Shastra. So it is Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastra. The crux of everything put in here. And that entire crux is taken in and put in the 2nd chapter of Bhagavad Gita as an introduction. The entire spectrum of our spiritual unfoldment is explained in 2nd chapter. So if we can understand 2nd chapter in its entirety, in its total depth, you have understood Hindu scriptures. So all the beautiful points of our Hindu scriptures are given in a sutra in a short version introduced in 2nd chapter. And Bhagavan Krishna, after having introduced that concept in 2nd chapter, then he takes each concept that has been mentioned in the 2nd chapter and explains it from the 3rd chapter to the 17th chapter. So when you are presenting a thesis, so what is the purpose of the thesis? You have the first opening statement. So that kind of opening statement is 2nd chapter. That is why it is one of the longest chapters in Bhagavad Gita. How many shlokas in second chapter? Very good. I was going to say open book question, look and tell. Okay, good. 72 shlokas. See, when you answer, I also feel happy. I mean, answer correctly. So 72 shlokas, all the concepts that are introduced, like for example, in the third chapter, Karma Yoga is taken. The Karma Yoga Sutra is mentioned in second chapter. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhu mate sangostva karmani. And that is further elaborated in third chapter. There are those finer nuances which are very confusing, karma, akarma, vikarma, and such terms. Those are explained further in the fourth and fifth chapter. Why do you purify through karma? Why do you apply this karma yoga? To have the peace and purity in our thought, word, and deed. Having attained to that purity, then we qualify for a next stage of dhyana. So in the sixth chapter, dhyana is given. What is it that you attain through this dhyana is explained from 7th through 11th chapter. Unity in diversity, and to find that oneness in these various multifaceted expressions of that Paramatma. Then in the 11th chapter, there is a transformation that occurs in Arjuna. This is for the first time that he not just hears, but experiences Bhagavan Krishna as a Paramatma himself. And to such Arjuna, the 12th chapter, one of the smaller chapters, Bhakti Yoga is introduced. So 7th through 12th or 11th is Jnana. 12th chapter is Bhakti. 13th through 17th is Karma, Bhakti, Jnana and Dhyana. How are they practically applied in day-to-day life is explained. What is the value system? Why value system? On that foundation of value system, how do you bring in the transformation? And while bringing in the transformation, where should we focus? So the 13th chapter says that, then the 14th chapter talks about the three gunas, Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. And that three gunas, the tamasic, rajasic and sattvic, how do we transform oneself from tamasic to rajasic to sattvic? And then how do you go transcend beyond that is explained in the 17th chapter. I'm just giving you a bird's eye view as to how Bhagavad Gita is structured. Then in the 18th chapter, that is the longest chapter of Bhagavad Gita, there are about how many shlokas? 78. Good. Give her a good hand. Because you could say, you have not explained, we have not gone there yet, Swamiji. Yeah, 78 shlokas. So what Bhagavan Krishna does is, all the concepts and the explanation that have been given, the synopsis as to what has been spoken is given again in 18th chapter. Therefore, we find that all the concepts, when he is tying all the loose ends in, you will find many sentences often repeated from the earlier chapters, saying that, remember, this is the sequence that I said, this is how these are all connected, and having connected all these things, this is the spiritual evolution. This is the application of it, both in the practical world of your day-to-day interactions, as well as inner growth. So this is the bird's eye view of entire Bhagavad Gita. So the first chapter is the foundation. And that is why Buddha often used to say, what is a good foundation for spirituality? The Buddhists believe that The good foundation for spirituality is dukkha. When we go through that personal misery, having gone through that personal misery, the intense desire to not come back to that situation again is a good incentive. And therefore they wait for that turning point in their life wherein they experience that misery. And sometimes we Hindus also have the similar kind of mindset. Because who takes to path of spirituality? It's a little degraded version of the Buddhist mindset. So this was a long time ago, about 22 years ago. I was in a train, and this person asked me, what kind of, in India they have these diksha, the Ayyappa diksha, they wear black clothes, and Devi diksha, red clothes, and various kinds of dikshas, more predominantly in South. And you see this more even in Maharashtra also. There are a lot of South Indians. And for practical reasons, Maharashtra is still a part of South. Ouch. They would refuse. They would say, no. Anyways. So this person looked at me and said, in those days I used to wear yellow clothes. I said, what kind of this new diksha? I said, it's a permanent diksha. Diksha for life. And his instant reaction was, yo. Why did you take to this path? Why did you become a sannyasi? So, having asked that question, he should give me some room to give an explanation. But before I could give my explanation, this is how his interaction was. I mean, at that time I was 19 or 20 years old. So he looked at me and said, did you fail in your exams or something? I said, no. I said, did you fight with your parents? Some argument, some miscommunication or something. Therefore, you got frustrated with them and ran away to this. I said, no. Before I could answer, again, the third option. Did you start some kind of a business, or you're in debts or something and you ran away? And by this time, the discussion must have been interesting. In a rail compartment, the seating is a 3+3. They face each other. The other 6 on either sides and the side berths and everybody's joined in. It was a nice freak show happening there. What do you call it? Roast. So I was the one being roasted, and they were being amused. Finally, he looked around, came close, and said, "Love mein flail ho gaya kya?" Some kind of a love issue, and you got rejected, and you took to this path. The idea is, who takes to the path of spirituality? Yes, the same dukkha can become a good platform for self-evaluation and growth process. But then the Hindu mindset, the way it has settled down into, is spirituality is taken up by those who have been losers in life. Good for nothing in life, therefore you take to the path of spirituality. So this mother comes with her son, a 22-year-old son. That's Swamiji. My son, he has just studied 10th class, but he speaks English, hard-foot English, baat kar leta hai. And 10th class also, it took a while, 3-4 attempts for him to get through. And finally, we got him into a job, but I don't know why. Either he quits out of frustration or they kick him out, being frustrated with him. So I thought, he was not settling in. So I thought I'll join him in the ashram. At least brahmachari ban jayega. Again, the mindset being that completely frustrated, dejected, and a failure takes to this path. That was the premise of her statement. And even when we talk, when you ask questions, when I'm trying to explain certain things, you ask questions. But Swamiji, we are normal people. What the heck? What do you mean? Am I abnormal or something or what? Getting the mindset? So people abhor the idea of spirituality because it is meant for losers, it is meant for people who have been frustrated and defeated. And the question they ask is, you're going into spirituality, what sadness has gotten into you? Running away from reality. After listening to entire Bhagavad Gita, what did Arjuna do? In fact, he was the one who was running away from reality. Bhagavan Krishna brought him back into senses, and having listened to Bhagavad Gita, he acquired clarity. With that clarity as an investment, he got in conviction to fulfill his responsibility. Therefore, if somebody goes through Bhagavad Gita and they say, I have got parama vairagya towards my responsibilities, then you have not understood Bhagavad Gita. It should give clarity towards that responsibility and enable us to perform it with such dexterity that we are not disturbed from within. So one day I was speaking to the 11th graders. So this mischievous kid, I said, oh, so Vedanta or Bhagavad Gita helps us to not be disturbed inside, though what we may do can disturb others. I said, good, that is in the next step. You're evolving to the next step. That is why there is one sentence throughout Bhagavad Gita, at least in the second chapter, that Bhagavan repeats it about 11 times, and over the entire Bhagavad Gita, another 7 times he repeats. And the message is constant. Ma Shucha. In the second chapter, the 9th shloka, Bhagavan starts speaking Vedanta. From there on, almost till the end, his message has been constant. There will be miserable situations in life. There will be overwhelming situations in life. To be miserable or not is a personal choice. Ma Shucha. Do you all know the Sarva Dharman Parityajya shloka? I'll help. Can you chant with me? Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja Aham Tva Sarva Papebhyaha Moksha Ishyami. This comes in the 18th chapter, and the message is still constant. Ma Shucha. Do not grieve. It is not an empty promise that Bhagavan is making, wherein it says, oh, don't cry. That's not all what it means. What are the kinds of choices that we have, and how to apply that freedom? Even the girl today was saying that we learnt about what is the true meaning of freedom. And whenever we talk about freedom, we have this notion of freedom. The ability to do whatever I feel like, whenever I feel like, however long I feel like to do or not to do, is a sense of freedom. Because we don't like to be told what to do. Right? So we define freedom as if it is a state of licentious existence. And I said that is the true state of freedom. But Bhagavad Gita redefines what freedom actually means. So you have to use it. It cannot be used as an independent word. There is another word which qualifies that freedom. And what is that? What life or Bhagavad Gita teaches us is freedom of choice. But how we understand freedom is freedom from action. You see the difference? It is not freedom from action, it is freedom how to choose to answer to each action. And we behave in life as if we are living someone else's experience. This is not justified that I am going through what I am going through. And when they are going through tough times, we tend to claim tall tales. What are the kinds of tall tales? Why is this happening to me, Swamiji? I have not hurt anybody in my life. I have not hurt even an ant. Have you heard people say that? As if, everybody is having a hammer or something, search for ants and what? Now that we are not in an overwhelming situation, are we really that kind of a punyatma? That we have not done wrong at all in life? I don't need an answer. Like, what are you asking? No, I don't need an answer. It's for you to think. And then when we go through the experience, we feel that I'm going through what I'm going through. It is not justified that I'm going through this. Therefore, a sense of rejection, sense of revolt against one's own life. If we keep revolting against our own experiences, who is going to live those experiences? So I read this. Usually I don't entertain the forwarded messages. Sometimes they are ridiculous and say they have a photograph and then they say that in next 30 seconds, send it to 10 people and you will... My foot. Otherwise, yeah, you sent it, you are otherwise. But this message was amazing. The message said, when I was in the school, I was dying to graduate and get into college. When I was in college, I was dying to get into a job. As soon as I got job, I was dying to get married. And as soon as I got married, I was dying to get stability and house and car and now that I am old and I am dying, now I look back that I lost another beautiful opportunity to live. And we go through life as if it is someone else's burden that we are carrying. First conviction that has to change is that it is not unjustified or it is not someone else's responsibility on our shoulders, but it is instead our own life, our own experiences, our own earlier past which is unfolding in this present moment. Because whatever we speak, it has to have a logical sense which is applicable all over the place. The idli batter, you put it in those trays and put it in the pressured system. You don't put the weight on it. Otherwise, you can play cricket with it. They become like a hard ball. And you put those inside and then close the lid and you open it. Suddenly, as you pull them out, they are moti chur ke laddu. Does it happen? Yes or no? It happens. Amma, I'm coming to your house every day. भास्कर जी क्या है शारा में है? Where did you buy the cooker? I got it. You go through undergrad and you do your masters. Say you are trying to become a software engineer. And after your 4 years of master and 4 years of undergrad and 2 years of master, one fine day when when you woke up on the day of graduation, you suddenly became a doctor. Does it happen? I don't want to come to you then as a patient. That is really yadgatva nanivartante. You go in but don't come back. There are no freak accidents in life, there are only incidents. We call it accidents because we cannot point our finger at the reason as to why it has happened. And it is happening, it is my own experience that is unfolding. Stop reacting, stop revolting, stop rejecting it. Instead, buckle up, understand what that experience is. And instead of asking, why is this happening? Drop the why in life. That's the first stage of wisdom. Stop asking why. Instead, drop the why. It is a statement of fact. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? This is happening to me. What are the various choices that I have to answer to this situation? We do not have the freedom to avoid the situation, but we have the freedom of choice as to how to answer to that situation. Even that change in understanding is an enormous effort enormous growth in the process of spiritual unfoldment. As you act and respond to that situation in life, how do we transform ourselves from tamasic reactions to rajasic reaction to a sattvic reaction? And the growth is purely personal. The choice that we make is purely personal. We will be bogged down by various insecurities, self-created. And all these insecurities are born because of our own wrong convictions. And the beauty of Bhagavad Gita is, each one of these wrong convictions are taken up, analyzed, and practical solutions given. Therefore, do not reject the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita by commenting. There is a smart aleck comment. Swamiji, how old is this Bhagavad Gita? 5,130 plus years. That which was spoken 5,000 years ago, how can it be applicable today in today's modern world? It is ridiculous that you people follow it with such faith. And this is not even a non-Hindu speaking. We Hindus don't require anybody else to destroy ourselves. जैसे गालिब कहते हैं, दिस कैन नॉट बी ट्रांसलेटेड इनटू इंग्लिश, सो आई हैव गिवन यू माय. एक ही उल्लू काफी था शहर को बर्बाद करने, यहाँ पे तो डाली डाली पे 1000 बैठे हैं. We don't need others to come and destroy. We are quite efficient in destroying ourselves. There's boarding, there is a nice on intersection of Preston and George Bush. And it said, it was a bank, I think it was advertising. And it said, a good advice never gets old. If it is really that good, it attains to a status of being a proverb. A nugget of wisdom. It can never get old. However old, it still is so powerful, impactful, that it cannot be rejected or dumped away saying it is old. Knowledge doesn't have expiration date. So let's not be a smart aleck in saying that this was 5,000 years old, how can it be applicable? And I understand where they are coming from. Their standpoint is, science has been constantly evolving. It was hilarious. When I was in 8th grade, we were taught Dalton's atomic theory. I very clearly remember, because by then there were other theories, but it was not in a textbook. And I refuted saying that I had read, and in the books there are various other scientists who have proven much subtler things than what Dalton has said. But because the book did not say it, I did not get my marks. Because I refuted his one standpoint was, atoms are indivisible. They are the smallest particles. By then the electrons, protons and other things had already been discovered. So I wrote them saying that, no, what he said is wrong. There are protons, electrons and other particles within the atom. And I got a big anda. Why? Textbook mein jo likha hai wahi likho. Whatever is being taught to you, write that only. I'm glad you're laughing and asking. Haji?
That's why I cannot change the textbook. You have to read in the 5,000.
Haan. By the time I came to 9th grade, the textbook changed. I know they said, and after what Dalton has said, there are others who have further investigated and they have found this as a truth. And I lost my 10 marks for that in my 8th grade. No, it was SN. Satvi 7 bar fail, Navi 9 bar fail. Thank you, one person understood it. But that is not how we see the scriptures. It is the same mind, the same pattern of functionality, and the same interactive patterns between the human mind and the rest of the world of things, beings, and experiences. That has not changed. Therefore, the wisdom of this Bhagavad Gita is applicable provided you have a sane head on the shoulders. And it is so universal. It does not matter what form of God or what form of religion that you are in, because this is does being a Christian absolve you from the law of electricity? There are certain orthodox things, they say that earth is still flat. Have you come across such people? You travel towards Mississippi, Alabama, and that places. They firmly believe that Earth is flat. So that is what I don't counter argue or anything. I said, good for you. Don't go in a boat because you'll गिर जाओगे. Here, what is being explained is the most pragmatic, applicable, and as we apply it, we see a process of self-evolution. What are the benchmarks? We stop reacting and start responding, as they call it, knee-jerk effect. You land in a situation and then we react. Instead of reacting, we respond. That's a huge growth. Ability to respond is called being responsibility. Ability to respond. Instead of responding, we only react. Instead of thinking and acting, we act and then think. So there is a change. We think and then put it into action. The anger and the frustration levels are not self-consuming, but they are controllable. Once you get to that confidence that these can be handled, that's a huge step in our own personal evolution. Because suddenly when we read through Bhagavad Gita and we come with the impression, come with the mindset that there is something miraculous that will happen, and suddenly there will be a halo around. Because that is what all the movies and other things is, and there is a halo around. And nowadays LED is cheap. Attach a battery and have one behind. Now stop being hollow. That is not the purpose of spirituality, to carry a halo around you. Or suddenly they'll say, can I levitate? I am scared of such things. What if you have a fan running? You levitate. Can you read minds? Why do we get into such? Does it really help? I promise you that even with such capacity, you will still lose. That is the baseline. You understand it, then there is no frustration. Because in fact, that was my first introduction to Gurudev. That when we were sitting out there and we were not interested in any spirituality, we were actually criticizing all these. And our discussion pattern ended up in Gurudev was talking and we were outside. We could see him as a speck in the end. We were discussing and it ended up in a topic, can they read minds? A freaky coincidence or whatever that got me attracted in was that there was a long pause and then he says, many of you, my friends sitting here, think that I can read your minds. Exact same topic. And he says, believe me, I have no such capacities. And the punchline was, even if I had, why would I be interested in your trash? No, don't ask questions today. because I'm just introducing. I have not even created enough platform to confuse. We'll come. No, we will come to that choice part as we go through fourth chapter. I'm just giving you a bird's eye view of what Bhagavad Gita's purpose is. For today, that is out of syllabus. We'll come to that. That's my choice. Having understood this field of choices and how do you handle outside, what it promises is peace within. You create a sanctuary inside, a platform inside of peace. That platform of peace which can battle, which can brave any kind of overwhelming situation, that you go there and then view the entire life. However overwhelming it is, you don't get personally disturbed. That objective perspective of the subjective experience, a third person's view on your own life, when that is created within, otherwise we get carried away by these experiences as they happen. Once that peaceful environment is created within, from there we launch the next steps of spirituality, and those are spoken in from the 7th through the 11th chapter as to how steadily we can progress. And being coming from a scientific mind, all of us ask, what are the benchmarks? So every so often, like in 2nd chapter, the benchmarks are given in the Sthita Prajna Lakshana, the last 18 shlokas. In the 6th chapter, the status of or the mindset of a person who has acquired that inner sanctuary of peace, that is explained. In the 12th chapter, the mindset of a devotee and how they progress in life, that is explained in the last 8 shlokas. In the 13th chapter, there are 20 values that are described, imbibing which there is an assurance of positive growth. In the 14th chapter, a vivid analysis of all aspects of life and interaction, from tamasic, rajasic and sattvic. And most of us learn that to evaluate others around. And the kids, once they learn this, they say, "Mom, you're acting rajasic today." No, it is not a tool to evaluate others, but it's a tool to evaluate oneself and growth. So those personal benchmarks are also given, pointers are also given. So with that in the background, understanding the situation and applying these choices, that ability is given. Therefore, it is not some kind of a make-believe, feel-good factor book, but it is something which is practical and applicable. So far, you may have always had an option to say that our scriptures are very confusing, because you read them, it doesn't give you the depth of it and it doesn't seem practical. Now, I'm sorry to say that one cause of your lack of interest in scriptures is lost, because Bhagwan has given us the opportunity to go through that in depth. So you can never say again that wish there was somebody who could explain this. Now that we have this opportunity to learn, make sure that you come and not make this a children's babysitting center on Sundays, but a package wherein they learn systematically and we also learn it systematically. So next week, come with your own copy of Gita. we'll get into the fourth chapter. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.